an interesting challenge how much you can tap into the hundreds of millions of people out there who want to make a difference in some way, and can do that online without having to go through the immense logistics it used to require to do group efforts.
So, in terms of, not to set this up longer than it needs to be, but I'm really curious on the part of a user who's not part of that 1% editor team, which I hear you saying anyone can get to.
There is no such thing as an editor team. There's no review board. There's nothing.
Then how do you, the people, everything I've read and understand about Wikipedia involves a group, I don't know what the appropriate definition is, super users who...
No.
No.
There's rule enforcers. There's admins. They're the guys who say, you've analyzed the page, and you've been repeatedly warned, probably by regular users, not by admins. And this, you just keep doing it, I'm going to block the account. You can't edit under that username anymore. You can go create another one, but you can't edit under that one. That's what an admin does.
There's also a more organic thing that seems to happen, I think, between the users that know the mechanisms, how to get
no question. No question. There's hundreds, thousands of rules. You know the rules. You have an enormous advantage over somebody who shows up who doesn't know the rules. But you're not an admin. You're not a super user. You have no formal title. You just happen to be more experienced editor. It's kind of like you're in the fight ring and you've taken boxing lessons. The other guy hasn't.
So you're saying, say I've never been on Wikipedia or edited, I have the same level of, same abilities to impact Wikipedia as someone who has been actively engaged and rewarded over 5 years.
You have no reputation,
right?
And don't know the rules. And this is not esoteric rules. There's things like, but there are rules. Like, if you cite a source, a reliable source, then your material will stay in. If you put something incontroversial without saying where you got it from, because you heard it on the Rush Limbaugh show, then someone will come around, take it right out, and you're puzzled. Why didn't it stick in there? I know I heard it. He's a reliable, and there are a few articles that have been vandalized, and so they're protected from new users or casual users. That's typically a couple hundred. But for everything else, you are equal. Again, you have no reputation. If you edit anonymously, you only have an IP address, which gives you even less credibility than if you have a registered username. So people will tend to look at your edit with more bias. But in terms of the right to do it, no, the answer is you could do it. You could go in, you can edit a policy. You can change the policy in Wikipedia. It won't stick.
I promised questions participation.
Yeah.
So,
question for Michael on the collaborative end and the One Sky efforts is one of the challenges in coalitions that are working together is a resistance to sharing information, primarily member lists.
Mm-hmm.
What sort of experience have you had, and what sort of methods, persuasive otherwise, have you to convince people to share lists, or have you come up with technological barriers so that they don't have to share lists but they can still collaborate?
Great question. I think this list sharing question is always the #1 sticking point in my experience for any online collaboration as well. So I've put all the time and energy into building my list, and that's the most valuable thing in my organization. So if I go do this thing with you, why would you shouldn't get access to my entire list or whatnot. So I think there are a number of strategies. I can talk about One Sky, but specifically in a second. But just broadly, I think one recent mass collaboration we did was around this Green Jobs Now Day of Action. It was on September 27th, just before the election. It was the We campaign, Al Gore's We campaign, One Sky, and then Green for All, which is Van Jones's group in Oakland, and just raising awareness around green economy, saying, look, America's ready for this new economy. There are 700 events happening all around the country, and over a period of several months of really aggressive campaigning on all fronts, there was something like 40 to 50,000 unique people with email addresses associated with them who were part of this joint collaborative website effort. And the way we handled that was just say, all communications will go through the Green Jobs Now website until the campaign is over, because it's a single day of action, and we agree in advance to then all three presenting partners get access to the list. So we all put everything in, and everyone has their various strengths and weaknesses in terms of what they can bring to the table. And the Wheat campaign did more of the online push because they have a list of 1 million people. One Sky, we have a massive field effort, so we were responsible for getting a lot of the events online and green. Anyway, so everyone put in their fair share, right? And then agreed, okay, at the end we're going to send one email. There's no need for this Green Jobs Now temporary brand to exist in perpetuity, so we agree going into it through like a basic MOU that will be one message to everyone from under the Green Jobs Now collaborative banner saying, hey, this has been put on by these three organizations as well as dozens of others who pitched in various ways. You'll now hear from, you will automatically be hearing from each of these groups who are, we're all working collaboratively towards the same goals, but through different ways. If you, at any point you want to stop, you can unsubscribe from any of that. So, and we just coordinated, around timing so that everyone didn't get hit at once. So I think that was one example of really successful list of navigating the list sharing waters. The other way I've seen it handled is through tracking links. Again, One Sky, we had around Mother's Day, there was an ask for people to organize these art parties in their communities to mothers and children, and talking about the importance of how climate is impacting their families and many generations down the line. And it was a successful ask, but Greenpeace was a key part of it, and they had stroller rallies, and we all collaborated through on the web. We had one shared map, so you could see all the different events being organized. And this is actually only a partial example. In this case, we had a public collaboration. We had separate organizing tools because Greenpeace brought their own to the table. We brought our own. So we were organizing our own communities, but collaborating publicly through our communications and through a shared Google map where everything was showing up together. But the other way I've done similar things like that in the past is through referral links. So we say we're doing it all on the One Sky site. We have many different partners. Everyone gets their own link, and then we know, so like a referral link, so that they blast to their list with a certain link, and everyone does the same, and then we can then say, hey, here are the people here are your people, here are the people that did this through you can now update your database and your CRM to say that these are the people who followed through and showed up, right? So that's not a complete sharing of everything, but it does enable some that has addressed kind of the list. The question of people saying, why should I send everyone over to your site? Like I have my list on my website. Why should I send them to yours? Well, we've already spent the time on the platform, and we'll tell you every single person who showed up. So in terms of this local organizing program, this climate precinct captains program I was describing earlier, our version of it is local.onesky.org. The Energy Action Coalition has their own going up. 350 theirs is already up. 350 is about to go up. Focus the Nation, who I mentioned, is coming online. Everyone has their own branded version and maintains their own communication channels with the people that they recruit through the program. So what it does is kind of silo in a back-end way, so that it's not, you don't feel publicly siloed from any of the other groups as an activist or local community volunteer or organizer. You get to see everyone else who's on the map. You get to see all the events being organized in that congressional district, regardless of what kind of partner effort you're through, because it's one kind of movement-wide effort. So, but each partner at the table gets to maintain their own communication channel with their audience. So the Energy Action Coalition, it's mostly campuses and students, right? We're going to talk to our folks at One Sky a little bit different than they are with their folks. So while we're all clearly showing up on the same map, and the same congressional district page is going to show everyone's the events that are happening on the campus as well as in the community, Energy Action gets to still the ability to work with their own folks in their own communication channel in the way that's appropriate to that